This is a video on coaching and Skype and phone coaching. So my name is Mark Walsh. I've been involved with coaching and training for, 12, 13 years, something like that. Some of my students have been asking me to do this video. The reason is I'm a specialist in working with the body, and they said, well, surely you can't do that on Skype or phone. I said, no, you totally can. I used to think the same actually until, let's see, about 6 or 7 years ago I started working for an organisation called Newfield Coach Training, and they said, you have to do your work on phone. I said, no way. They said, come on, try it. So I said, okay, I'll see what I can do. So let's look at the advantages of phone and Skype coaching first of all. I mean, obviously for the coach, there's this advantage: you don't have to spend a lot of time running around. So if you're only getting paid for an hour's work, then I don't want to go to London and spend 2 hours on the train from Brighton to do 1 hour's work and 2 hours back. It makes no sense. So just economically, it can make sense. Also for ease, I'm in my own house, I'm relaxed. I can set up those conditions perfectly. With a cup of tea, so I can really be in an ideal state. There's no excuse for coming to phone or Skype coaching in bad state. Yeah. Obviously for the client, the same thing's convenience. They don't have to run around to your office. Some people actually feel more comfortable in this. So why is YouTube so popular? Well, it's one of the reasons is it's cheap and free, blah blah blah. But another reason is it's easy to learn from video. The same thing with coaching. People can just feel more comfortable. It can be. Some people don't like being seen. Phone coaching or Skype coaching without the visual is really nice for them. Yeah, it's really nice for them because they can. They don't feel uncomfortable. And they kind of want to hide that way, which is cool, right? That could be really, really useful for clients, particularly in a certain stage of their coaching. Yeah. So what else? Other advantages. Phone coaching. One thing I like about it is you can really hear the breath. So as an embodied coach, you can like I close my eyes, I can really tune in to what's going on, what's going on for that person. And it's amazing how much body work you can do just by hearing the voice. And if someone starts speaking like this, you can be pretty clear that they're in tense state. So listening to the voice, which is always an expression of body, is the voice more like hey, or is it more ooh or ee, or any of these sounds? Dylan Newcomb's work on sound, uzazu, and sound relating to body is really useful for this because you hear how the sounds relate to different body types. You start getting a mental map of that. I still lead people through centering exercises. For example, I say, okay, you're sitting down, give me an idea where you are. Okay, feet on the ground. Now, obviously with Skype, it's great as well. We can have that kind of, you can see the body, you can see the client. I make sure I'm in an office where I can actually stand up and move, and this wouldn't be where I am now, wouldn't be enough room actually. I like to have to stand up and have a room to demonstrate, to show a standing kind of posture. So I've certainly used it that way. What I like about Skype is you see the picture, so you can see the body. I find that is generally better than phone coaching for most people, not everyone, like I said. Yeah, I mean, it's not the same as being in a room with someone. And I would still say, even though I love phone coaching and Skype coaching, do it a lot, I often have my first meeting with a client face to face, so we can build that rapport, we can connect, bodies connect. It's not just the visual mirror neurons that do it, there's other mechanisms that do it. I like to shake someone's hand, I like to see them move around. And once you've got that kind of imprint, like felt sense of someone, then it's much easier to do phone and Skype coaching. So if I do like an package of 8 sessions or 4, which would be pretty typical for me, the first one I'd often make face to face in an office in Brighton, neutral territory, whatever. So yeah, I think as a follow-up it's particularly good. Other disadvantages, sometimes it's where people are, like people are like holding their crying child, or there's stuff going on in the background, or in an office where they keep getting interrupted. I've even had people turn up for sessions like walking down the street. I mean, you can do walking coaching from an embodiment point of view, but there's a lot of background noise, or they're distracted, in a cafe. So I like to have clear boundaries around that. So it's not just like you will phone me, it's like you will phone me, you will have a good internet connection. You'll be in a quiet location where you can focus. So that's part of the contracting with clients, and they know that, right? They know then the kids aren't there, whatever it is. So, unless that's part of what you're working with. So that's contracted in advance, and if they do that, I can say, I'm not going to continue with this call, it just doesn't work. Yeah. So obviously some of the touch exercises we might do in embodiment, like now you can't touch me, right? Like this. Some of those are limited. Sometimes I have to send videos to people, which is helpful for doing embodied works. And like, this is the video, this is the instruction. If you can't demonstrate so easily, that's fine. But like I said, you can still do centering exercises. You can still do some movement exercises. You can use the hands, for example, to do movement. Show them something. Like I could teach 4 elements just with the hands, yeah, and get them to do that, which you can see. You don't have to have them running around a room. Remember, you can do simple exercises with embodiment like that. Yeah, I know Paul Linden does centering with throwing tissues. He throws tissues at the camera. One thing you need to be a bit careful of is on Skype, it's like you're looking the wrong way, so that can feel weird and rapport building because the camera is quite different from where the screen is. Whereas on an iPhone, which is where I'm at now, if you're using FaceTime, it actually feels more personal because it's more like actually eye to eye, face to face in that way. Somehow it's adjusted, I think, on FaceTime and an iPhone. Maybe just the camera's less far away, I don't know. But that's one thing that can feel weird on Skype. I actually had one client that really preferred FaceTime for that reason. So yeah, other tricky things. Checking in terms of safety stuff for embodiment, like someone having a big freak out trauma response, you'll still hear it, right? It's like you're gonna hear the precursors to that. You can, you can see someone spacing out. You don't have to be in the room for that. So yeah, basically it's no different. I mean, those are my students who are watching this. It's all the same principles. So like you're still using awareness and choice. You're still using, sitting more, sitting in the different ways, which is more familiar. Exaggeration and contrast. We're using our basic awareness building principles, basic centering techniques. You just have to do it on a slightly smaller scale. That's good practice as well for working with people in wheelchairs or working in a corporate office where you have to be sitting down. I did another video recently on coaching sitting. So a lot of that applies obviously to this. But in terms of your own movement, I like a head-free set when I'm phone coaching, so I can actually move around, and sometimes I'll change my own embodiment. I'll just cut with a sword or stand up or sit down or lie on the floor. There's nothing to say you can't do that, and that can really change your own state, which can be very helpful for coaching. And you can get clients to do that. Say, are you sitting down right now? Okay, stand up, push your feet on the ground, push your hands together. Yeah, so you can still work with movement in all those ways. So fundamentally, it is no different. I think we just need to be aware that some of the kind of empathic connection is going to take a bit longer, in terms of rapport building, things like that. Some of the touch exercises we can't do, but the basic principle is the same. So phone coaching, Skype coaching, something I love. I love how much freedom that brings, and to be able to go around the world and still maintain different clients. They can tune in from wherever they were. There's an accessibility for that. People that maybe can't get to my office because of families or work or whatever. So I think it's a cool thing. And yeah, that's my thoughts.